Hey everyone, this is Angie with Olymp Trade, and in this video we're going to speak about 11 rules of success from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Olympia. You see, pretty much everybody knows that Schwarzenegger is the world's most famous bodybuilder, the Terminator, and former governor of California. But few people know that he's also a successful businessman. Schwarzenegger became a millionaire before reaching the age of 30. This was before his career in Hollywood, and he made his first million by investing in real estate. During his first purchase, he didn't have much money. You see, Arnold didn't trust his agent and did the research himself. Throughout the year, he looked at different real estate ads, he analyzed prices and their changes to make sure he chose the right location to make a good investment. The diversity of his business activities is amazing, but even more striking is the enthusiasm with which he takes on any task. You know, there was an article that discussed successful people and their attitude to work. You see, work is as natural for them as breathing. As soon as they succeed in one thing, they immediately take up the next, and if something doesn't work out, it encourages them to become even better. I think Arnie is the perfect example of such people, and so I wanted to share with you 11 principles by Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is only a small part of many valuable lessons from his book, but remember, everything can come in handy in life. When Schwarzenegger served in the army, different adventures happened to him. One day, by his fault, a tank rode into a hangar wall and destroyed it. So he had to urgently repair the damage. As punishment, he also had to peel potatoes for a prolonged period of time while listening to bullying from his colleagues. But according to Arnold, nothing could spoil his mood because he had the opportunity to learn how to work with cement and place cinder blocks. Focus on the weak points. You see, biceps, chest, back, and hips were always Arnold's strong suits, but his calves were too weak to qualify for the title of champion. You see, people tend to do what they are good at doing, so if your biceps, for example, respond well at the gym, you tend to want to train just them. But Arnold didn't want to get into this trap, which many bodybuilders have already fallen into. He knew he had to focus on his weak points. To ensure his success, Arnold cut off all his pants from knee down so that everyone would see his calves, and on the contrary, covered all his strong muscles with clothes. Schwarzenegger came to America by invitation of Joe Weider, a famous bodybuilder coach and founder of the International Federation of Bodybuilders. Joe had his own gym, and he paid the bodybuilders little but enough so that they could train and compete. See, most bodybuilders were happy to take the opportunity to sit back and spend all of their time at the gym training. Arnold, on the other hand, was thrilled that Joe had a bodybuilding magazine and stores with food supplements for heavyweights. He liked the bustling activity, and he immediately asked to work in the store to get to know the business better and at the same time improve his spoken English. For his relentless activity, he was nicknamed the German Machine, reliable and faultless, which always works and never breaks down, never stops improving. As soon as Schwarzenegger realized that he was far ahead of his fellow bodybuilders and didn't have to worry about the title of champion, he immediately shifted his focus and concentrated on other things. He wrote down everything he wanted to do on individual cards. Then he made a plan on how to achieve them and fit them in his schedule. Some of his first goals were to take 12 extra courses at college, make enough money to set aside $5,000, buy an apartment and move into it, and learn to say no. You see, in the 1970s, Arnold was offered a job to be the head of a leading network of gyms with a salary of $200,000 per year. During those times, this was considered a lot of money, but he refused. Schwarzenegger already knew he wanted to film in Hollywood. Becoming the managing head of the gyms was a very generous offer, but it wouldn't help him pave his way to the cinema. Don't be afraid to be the rookie. His first time on the set, he had to quickly accept that he is no longer the best in the world, but the most common among the same beginner actors. He had to suppress his pride and strive for financial independence. Schwarzenegger became a millionaire before he was 30. Apart from working for Joe Weider's empire, he was always doing something else. He earned his first capital by starting a construction company with a friend to repair houses. The earthquake in Los Angeles in 1971 provided a lot of work, and Arnold invested most of his income in real estate and quickly became the owner of one profitable house and then the whole block. But the German machine was not satisfied. Schwarzenegger launched a successful mailing list of videos and equipment for bodybuilders. And when Schwarzenegger started making films, he was financially independent, so he could afford to star in the roles and films by his choice from the very beginning. Investing. Arnold has always believed that the most important thing is not how a person earns money, but how he invests and multiplies it. He didn't want to join the numerous ranks of celebrities and athletes who either spent all their money or trusted a bad manager. It is important not only to get rich but also to remain rich, and for this to happen, one must know the business industry and be able to take control and count money. Schwarzenegger has an enviable portfolio of shares of famous companies such as Coca-Cola, Pfizer, and many others. He was always involved in the distribution of films, applying all the skills he acquired in bodybuilding, working for Joe Weider, and starting a business. The Terminator never trusted bystanders with his finances or his popularity. Gaining experience. Schwarzenegger writes in his book that everything ultimately comes down to repetition. If you want to ski well, then go out on the slope more. If you want to play chess, then play thousands of matches. And if you want to be a movie star, rehearse as much as you can and be what may. Love what you do. I'd like to finish with Arnie's own words. I love the fact that my life is so diverse. Today I met with contractors who were building an office building or shopping mall, and we discussed how to get the most useful space. What do we need to get permission? What is this project aimed at? The next day I spoke to the publisher of my last book about what kind of photos it should contain. Then I worked with Joe Weider on a piece of his magazine, and after that I had a meeting about one of my films, or I went to Austria to talk about politics with Fred Gerstel and his friends. Everything I did could have been my hobby, and in a way it was my hobby. I was passionate about all of it. For me, life means constant excitement. That's the difference between living and simply existing.